Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I'd like to talk about the fact that on the iPhone 12, it appears to be able to tell if you replaced the rear camera. On older iPhones, when you replace the camera, it really has no idea because a camera is a camera is a camera. It's not like there's anything special in it. They're not serialized to my knowledge, and it doesn't really bother you the same way that BlackBerry does when I start doing a video and she tries to sit on my mouse. Now, with the iPhone 12, a gentleman named Hugh Jeffries, which you can check out his video here, he tries to replace the camera. He took one of the boards and just put it into another iPhone 12, and right after he was done, this is what happened with it.
X zoom now functions. However, after changing the camera, two functions are now completely unusable. Portrait mode only works for the front camera, with the back one only flashing still images and a black screen. As you can see, the camera app tends to lock up. Relaunching it, you can see panoramas also don't work when using the 0.5x zoom.
I'll save you the time of watching if you don't want to watch his entire 16-minute video, although it is a very well-done video. You may ask, well, what happens with the other phone? So if he bought two iPhone 12s and he switched the board from this to this, does the other one have the same problem? Yes. And does it go away entirely when he switches the boards back? It does, meaning that the iPhone 12 has some way to tell if you're using the exact same camera that came with it. And again, as evidenced in his video, even if you use a genuine, authentic, original, came from another iPhone 12 straight out of the box camera in your iPhone 12, it's still not going to actually work, meaning that even if you can get your hands on a genuine part, you're at the point now where that's not good enough anymore. You likely need some sort of piece of Apple proprietary hardware that we're not going to have access to reprogram it to work with the new phone, meaning that that is yet another notch in the coffin for right to repair or repair shops in general. At this point, I really don't feel like a right to repair activist in any way, shape, or form. Rather, I'm just someone that's eulogizing the repair industry with each passing video, because very little appears to change in a positive direction in spite of all the talk that we've done, lobbying and teaching people and so on and so forth over the past 6 to 7 years. I haven't really done much that's actually cemented real change yet, and it is sad. However, I'm not fully convinced that this is something that was done on purpose just to screw with independent repair. This isn't Apple style. This is Intel style. Anybody know the management engine region that got added with a lot of the Core i5 and i7 processors, particularly with MacBooks around 2011 and 2012? So the SPI ROM, otherwise known as the BIOS chip, will have a section in it called the management engine. And that is going to communicate with the PCH, which is the platform controller hub that used to be known as the North Bridge and the South Bridge. Now it's combined into one chip called the PCH. If you change the PCH or the SPI ROM, it's not going to work properly because that SPI ROM's ME region is paired to that specific PCH. So let's say the BIOS chip fries on my board. I take a BIOS chip from another board and I just put it on there, or I copy someone else's firmware onto it and it doesn't have a clean ME region. It has an ME region that was paired with that PCH. It's not going to work right. But it's not going to give me a message. It's not going to say error code. It's going to give me some random Wi-Fi will kind of act funky on occasion. Internal graphics will sometimes work, sometimes be slow. Sometimes it'll boot up fine. Sometimes it'll take several minutes to boot up, even with a PCI Express SSD. It doesn't. It does this shit. It doesn't just give you the benefit of not working. It works just good enough, just enough of a percentage of the time for you to think that maybe you were seeing something, but then you realize, wait, no, it is broken. Wait, no, it was working. And it's really annoying. I've spoken with Duke from the forum about this several years ago, and he said, I'm convinced that someone at Intel decided that, my legacy is going to be just like fucking with people by adding this. He's much smarter than I am. He's a much more talented and capable engineer than I am, and it just doesn't really add up why you would add something like this, so that if the it's not like the functions don't work. It's not like Wi-Fi doesn't work or the computer can't boot. It works, just intermittently, weirdly, sometimes slowly, sometimes perfectly. And that's what you see here. And what I learned from the Error 53 fiasco from 5 years ago is that there is also a PR element that jumps in here. So Apple's been an anti-repair company for a while, in my opinion. So when something came up like, you change the home button and then you update the phone and it just kills it, and you can't get your data and they don't help you, I figured this was just some sort of FU to the repair shops and the users. Then they said they were doing it for security in response to that. Their PR department went on the defense and said, this is about security. when in reality it was actually a bug, and that this was supposed to be there only during manufacturing and production to make sure that people don't get a phone that has a home button that is not paired to the board. That was supposed to be there to keep lemon units from making their way out to the public, but that was not supposed to be something that was included in the final operating system. PR never spoke to the engineering department, I imagine, which is why they came up with that knee-jerk reaction that this was about security. So I think what I learned from that experience is I'm not going to assume that this is done as anti-repair. I will more than happily listen to what Apple's explanation is. I will listen to their explanation, and I will give them a fair shot to explain why it is if you take a perfectly good camera from another iPhone 12, and put it in this iPhone 12 that it doesn't work. I get the FaceTime thing if you want to say security. I get, but the fingerprint sensor, all that stuff. You have your security argument there. But I don't understand how with the rear camera this makes any sense. Like, first you have it with the True Tone stuff, then you have it with like the battery message. It's now like it's kind of getting to be a bit much in my opinion. I don't really get where the benefit is to the end user here, but I also don't see how this is anything but a bug. If the camera app opened and then said, like unconfigured camera or something like that, like maybe then I would consider, okay, you're doing this on purpose. But the camera opening and just acting really screwed up lends me to believe that there is something else. Perhaps there is a good reason that this specific camera is different from another camera. Perhaps there's something with the way it does image stabilization, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling shit out of my ass here. Maybe there's something with image stabilization or something, or white balance and colors and all that crap, where these cameras from this batch are different from those cameras from that batch. So in some way, shape, or form, there is a handshake going on so that the phone can read that information from the camera and act accordingly. And rather than just mess with the color and stabilization settings, when you put a different camera in there, it screws up everything. I'm open to hearing an explanation. I really am. I'm not trying to be unreasonable. But the reason that we typically go to the anti-repair assumption here is because we very rarely, if ever, get an explanation that's not complete and utter garbage. We hear the Charlie Brown thing where people are going to install TikTok on your phone. You have the Catherine Gunter, the game will play the console. You have people that speak on these matters that have genuinely no idea what they're talking about. And that's why we typically default to the assumption that this is being done for anti-repair reasons, because there's really never a better reason given, and most of the decisions that Apple makes just so happen to cut in that anti-repair direction. But in this case, I'm not ready yet to say that this is just being done to say screw you to all the repair shops that want to be able to fix people's rear cameras until there's a little bit more information. Again, I hear you. If you're there saying Apple's doing this to screw up with the end repair shops, trust me, I am usually on that side as well. I assure you that is the first thing that came to mind when I see this. But at the same time, this is just a really weird failure mode. It's not saying not compatible, not supported, error message, someone may have installed a camera that's hacked into your phone, anything like that. It's just working really screwed up. And with how much more advanced the cameras are getting in these devices, it really does lend me to wonder if there is some sort of pairing going on for something other than anti-repair reasons. There's a good chance that I will look back on this video 1 or 2 years from now and think that I'm a fucking idiot, the same way that I look back on the video that I did on the IRP program. So there was a video when they came out with their independent repair program. I remember doing a video saying, congratulations, Apple, for doing a good thing. Apple helps people buy OEM parts. And that was before I heard about the program. I did this video when I first heard about the program. I thought, let me assume the best until we figure out that it is bullshit. And then, as anybody who watches this channel for any period of time realized, the program was bullshit. I went over the specifics of it there, and then I did an abridged version over here, where you can see that this program is absolute, in my opinion, utter garbage. I think that the IRP program was designed from the ground up to be a program that makes independent repair shops less competitive than they were before they joined it. I believe it is purely there so that when they testify before Congress or some Senate committee, they can say, but look, we do have an independent repair thing. Granted, they have to actually get the serial or IMEI of the phone and then wait a week or so to order a battery, which every repair shop in the nation already offers with 10-minute turnaround. But look, we offer it. I think that's why the program is offered. And perhaps I'm making that same mistake now of being overly optimistic, but I don't have all the information to know that this is 110% done to screw the repair shop. And again, this is a really, really weird failure mode. The camera, like, semi-works. It doesn't give you an error message. It works, but then when you switch modes, it kind of screws itself. Like, that really seems like a bug, not something intentional. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, BlackBerry hopes you learned something. She's sitting on the right side instead of the left side. She's cropped out of the video, and therefore does not get to follow me on my influencer journey.